A few strong and severe thunderstorms have been creeping through the area today. We're going to track even more rounds of showers and thunderstorms as we head into your Friday and Saturday as the remnants of a tropical system roll in. I'll have the very latest look for you.
As investigators release new details about a deadly shooting rampage at a South Carolina church, we'll show you how churches here in central Kentucky are paying tribute to the victims.
With more food trucks rolling out onto Lexington streets, what's being done to make sure their food you're buying from them is safe?
Tracking, alerting, protecting. WKYT News starts now with First Alert Weather.
Good evening. We're tracking strong and at times severe storms as they move across parts of Kentucky tonight. It's the start of what could be a very wet stretch for us.
A storm this afternoon caused some problems in Nicholasville. Emergency managers believe strong winds damaged the awning of this Speedway gas station on Main Street and also brought down some trees. We have just declared a First Alert Severe Weather Day. Meteorologist Jim Caldwell shows us what's on the First Alert Defender right now. Jim?
And it has been active all day long. And the reason we're calling this First Alert Severe Weather Day, and it's actually going to go over an extended period of time, is the fact that we're going to pick up more rounds of heavy rain moving forward through the evening into the day tomorrow, with the remnants of Bill tracking in, and then well into Saturday as well. Let's see what's happening on Defender out there at the moment. Look at all of that lightning. First of all, that's going to be the thing that grabs your attention immediately. All those little white areas showing up. Those are, of course, the thunderstorms that have been moving through the area. We've got a decent little cluster that's been hanging out just to our north, producing rounds of heavy rain right over the same real estate time and time again, from Cynthiana back now down to Georgetown, where they're getting in on some of the heavier rain, period, anywhere around us in Lexington. We have avoided any major issues in the metro area, but we've got two areas of concern. As we flip it into 3D mode, you can see these are some pretty tall thunderstorms, intense thunderstorms that are out there. But we look to our west and we've got even more, and that's going to be the direction we get in on as far as the next round of thunderstorms that actually move into Lexington. You can see it coming our way. Not as intense as some of the stuff that's showing up to our north and well off to our west closer to Louisville, but this will produce some gusty winds, heavy rain, and more lightning. We will take a closer look at all of this coming up for you in just a few minutes.
Now to a breaking news alert we're tracking in Scott County. Police tell us 6 people, including several children, have been taken to the hospital after a crash on Interstate 75. It happened this afternoon in the northbound lanes near the Sadieville exit. Police say the driver of a minivan lost control, ran off the road, and hit a tree. They say 2 of the people taken to the hospital are now in critical condition. Police say they've also worked several minor crashes in that same area caused by wet roads. The nationwide manhunt ends with an arrest in the Charleston, South Carolina church massacre.
Here is the suspect. He is 21-year-old Dylan Roof. He is accused of killing 9 people. Police say Roof is from Lexington, South Carolina. They say he spent an hour inside a prayer meeting at Charleston's historic Emmanuel AME Church last night. Witnesses say he then stood up, shouted racist remarks before opening fire. The dead include the pastor, who was a state senator, a high school coach, and a librarian. 3 other people were injured. Calling the murders senseless today, the president cautioned against ignoring wider issues of gun violence and race. Holding back tears, South Carolina's governor appealed for prayer.
We woke up today and the heart and soul of South Carolina was broken.
The case against Roof is being treated as a hate crime. Here in the Bluegrass, people are honoring the victims of that shooting. In Lexington, one prayer vigil was held earlier this afternoon. Another will be held tonight. Our Monique Blair is live with our top story at 6. Monique.
Today has been an emotional day all across Lexington as various churches hold prayer vigils for the victims, the survivors, and all their families of last night's mass shooting in Charleston, South Carolina.
There are 9+ victims of senseless violence enacted at a time of spiritual retreat.
Last night, during a Bible study at the Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Charleston, 9 people were shot and killed. And today, hundreds of miles away from the tragic scene, The city of Lexington was feeling the pain.
Christians ought to be Christians everywhere we are. Amen. And it says in the word that if one of us is hurt, all of us is hurt.
And that, Father, you will continue to be the spirit of comfort to those who are grieving the sudden loss of their loved ones.
Somehow, this cycle of hate has to be broken.
Quinn Chapel AME's Pastor Kenneth Golphin described one of the slain victims, Pastor and State Senator Clementa Pinckney, as a man who didn't harbor hatred, a man who did not support any racial animosity. Today, those same sentiments were preached during the vigil.
We fix it in a manner of peace and love. You don't return hate for hate. You don't return harm for harm.
Take things moment by moment with your grace and with your mercy, and to let your love abide. In Jesus' name, amen.
Now, another community prayer vigil is set to start in about an hour here at the historic St. Paul AME Church on North Upper Street, and that prayer vigil will start at 7 o'clock, and the public is welcome to attend. Reporting live in Lexington, Monique Blair, WKYT.
Investigators say the victims of the shootings range in age from 26 to 87 years old.
His family and friends say they can't understand why someone would want to hurt him. Tonight, we're learning more about a Bath County man police say was stabbed to death. Investigators say 54-year-old Henry Mead was found dead last night at his home on Wyoming Road. Sam Smith talked to Mead's family today. He's tracking the investigation tonight.
I'm told Henry Mead has lived here for about 11 years, and his landlord is the one that came by here yesterday and found his body.
Mike Swartz needed someone to live and work on his farm. Mead was the perfect fit.
He took care of the farm. We used to raise cattle down there, and he mowed and weed eat and took care of a garden and raised a garden. Everybody loved him down there.
Mead did not show up for work yesterday, so Swartz stopped by to check on him.
When I got in from work, I went down there, and that's when I found him. It was pretty bad.
Police say the 54-year-old was stabbed multiple times.
Just broke down crying. He didn't deserve that.
His stepdaughter, Miranda Alsep, says Mead was a kind man that wouldn't bother anyone, and what happened to him is alarming.
I mean, that means somebody wanted that man to suffer.
It's been a hard 8 months for her family. In October, her cousin Norma Jo Brown was reported missing, and that case is still unsolved. And now this.
I mean, with the Norma missing and now Henry dead, I want one of them solved.
This case is still under investigation. Police ask if you saw anything suspicious out here to give them a call. In Bath County, Sam Smith, WKYT.
Police do not believe this attack was random. They say there was no sign of forced entry at the home. A Scott County man died today after investigators say his tractor flipped on him while he was mowing grass. It happened around 2 this afternoon on Switzer Road and Stamping Ground. Scott County Coroner John Goebel identified the man as 77-year-old Virgil Burnett.
The tractor did roll down a very steep embankment, approximately 50 to 80 foot maybe. And we can't say whether something medical happened with him or whether he just got too close to the edge.
The coroner believes Burnett died instantly when the tractor flipped on him.
Lexington is experiencing an explosion in food trucks, mobile food vendors who are serving up a variety of food, everything from Cajun to lobster rolls to gourmet mac and cheese. But with that mobile menu of food comes challenges on how to keep it regulated and inspected. Tonight we join health inspectors as they make sure what you're eating is safe.
Hello. How you doing?
Meet Nathan Powell with the Fayette County Health Department, one of 12 environmental health specialists. In the last year or two, the food truck craze has made their job much more demanding and busy.
5 years ago in Lexington, I was inspecting probably maybe 1 to 2 a week. Now with the food trucks, temporary concessions, we have had to adopt a different system to where we have 2 inspectors inspecting up to 40 units a week.
Thank you. Thank you. Enjoy your day.
Welcome to America's new dining table, where your meal and drink is prepared right in front of you outside. With a variety of menu options has them standing in line at this recent Food Truck Friday event.
It's awesome. It's a great variety. I mean, you can get pretty much anything you want here, from pulled pork to, you know, I've got a Thai noodle bowl here with some super hot sauce. It all looks fantastic.
It's fun. It's fun to get out here in the sun and run into people that you haven't seen and eat new foods that you haven't tried.
Basically, we're here to make sure nobody gets sick.
Clipboard and inspection sheet in hand, Pal and another health department inspector make their way through the crowd and visit each food truck. The inspection includes making sure each cooler and refrigerator has a temperature gauge and is cold enough.
To make sure that the product is staying correct temperatures.
They dip test strips into the wash and rinse water to confirm it's properly sanitized.
Any areas will be bacteria free.
Use a meat thermometer on frozen chicken and watch to see that gloves are used in handling food. While we are taping, Hal notices a food worker is missing something important.
One small deduction we did have to give him was for not having a beard restraint. You start to have these beards that are in fashion these days, you want to make sure that you have a restraint around the beard.
The inspectors can close down a food truck if they find major violations. They do not issue fines, but say it's not uncommon to close a food truck or temporary food service operation until the issues are fixed.
If we find any issues with rodents, insects, pests, you know, we will definitely shut them down on the spot.
But it'd have to be major.
Well, it has to be major enough to endanger the public's health. That's what we're looking for.
So you have shut some down?
Yes, sir.
All the food trucks at this event passed, including Sweet Lily's frozen yogurt, owned by Chris McFarlane and his wife. He proudly posts his inspection report with a perfect score. But oddly enough, regulations do not require food trucks to post their inspection results, unlike restaurants, which must post them where customers can see them. I asked, why not food trucks? The supervisor of the health inspectors says statewide mobile food trucks operate all over Kentucky. It was deemed unfair for us to require them to post their last inspection reports if these inspections may have occurred in other counties.
We really don't have enough staff to be able to cover everything and do our daily job.
They also inspect everything from swimming pools to hotels and mobile home parks to sewage complaints and mold problems. Can you say you were able to track every single food truck in Fayette County today and know where they are? With 100% confidence?
With 100% confidence, I would say not exactly.
If the food truck craze continues to grow, the health department may be forced to hire more inspectors. Right now, trucks with running water and electricity are each getting inspected an average of once a month, and small, more temporary food vendors even more than that.
I think it's important that the health department's keeping up with the food trucks and making sure that we're all abiding by the rules, and that we love seeing them, because when they put a score on the wall of 100, it tells people that we've done for them what they expect us to do, and that's give them good clean food.
Now, right now, the Fayette County Health Department does not have inspection results online for food trucks. But if you want to know how a food vendor did on their last inspection, call the health department. Here's the number, 231-9791 during business hours.
New tonight, more Kentucky school districts have been approved to use virtual or non-traditional means of instruction when schools are closed for bad weather. 13 school districts took part in the program this past year, but the State Department of Education has now approved it for 44 districts. In most cases, students will have lessons online. These districts will be able to count up to 10 of these non-traditional days as regular attendance days. For a full list of the districts now using the program, go to WKYT.com. Today, construction officially began on another YMCA in Lexington.
They broke ground for a new YMCA in Hamburg. It's being built on Old Rosebud Road between Hamburg Farms and the Tuscany subdivision. The new Y will be 58,000 square feet, include an aquatic center, multiple gyms, and exercise rooms. Y leaders think the new facility should be finished by the fall of next year.